Hi mathematicians, this is Mr. Almeida. I hope you're doing well today. In this video, we are going to talk about what it means to distinguish, which means to tell the difference between comparisons of absolute value and comparisons about order. So where is the number located on the number line? Is it to the left or to the right of the other number? Okay? So just a quick thing to remember before we begin the new notes for today is that if you're comparing two numbers, that means 2 points on the number line, you're figuring out which number is to the left if it's a horizontal number line or below if it's a vertical number line, which means is less than, and which number is to the right if it's a horizontal number line or above if it's a vertical number line, that is straight up and down, is greater than on the number line. And again, that's if the two numbers are not equal, which means the same point on the number line. To help you remember this, remember we talked about if the symbol is open to a number, it means that number is on the right on the number line. And if the symbol is closed, it means that number is on the left of the other number on the number line. Okay? So now we're going to talk about comparing absolute values. When you compare absolute values, and remember absolute value is the distance of a number from zero, you answer the following question. The question is, which number is farther if it's a horizontal number line or further if it's a vertical number line from zero? Okay? Which number is the greatest distance away from zero? The number that is farther or further away from zero has the relation symbol open to it. So it's going to be open if that number is further away from zero to its absolute value, because it, which is that number, has a greater distance from zero, okay? It is further away from zero. And vice versa, if the number is closer to zero, the number that is closer to zero has the relation symbol that is close to its absolute value, because it has a smaller distance from zero. So let's take a look here. When we look at these two comparisons, are we comparing absolute values or are we comparing numbers? Well, we're comparing the absolute value because we see the absolute value bars around the given numbers, okay? So we say the absolute value is 3, and the absolute value of -3 is 3, and the absolute value of -4, or the opposite of 4, is 4. So we draw pictures of what these numbers look like. We go 3 units away from 0 to the left to model -3, and we go 3 units to the left of, go 4 units to the left of 0 to model the opposite of 4. Okay? So we ask ourselves, are we looking at the arrows or are we looking at the points on the number line? In other words, are we comparing their absolute values, so which number has the longest distance from zero, or are we comparing their points on the number line, the actual numbers with these red points on the number line? We're comparing their absolute values. So which one is further away from zero? -4 is further away from zero because it's 4 units away from zero, whereas the opposite of 3 is only 3 units away from zero. So we say that the opposite of 4 has a greater distance from 0 than the opposite of 3 does. So whichever number is farther away from 0 has the relation symbol open to it. So it's going to be open to the absolute value of -4 and closed to the absolute value of the opposite of 3, or -3, because that number has a smaller distance from 0 compared to the opposite of 4's distance from 0, okay? Now we look at this next one, and remember we're going to read carefully what we're actually, what type of value we're given. Are we given absolute values or are we given numbers themselves in this example? We're given numbers themselves. So guess what I'm not going to look at? I'm not going to look at the distance from 0. I'm going to look at the points on the number line. So we say that the opposite of 3 is to the what of the opposite of 4 on the number line? It's on the right. So therefore, the symbol is open to the number that is to the right of the other number on the number line, and close to the opposite of 4 because the opposite of 4 is on the left. So it's closed to the opposite of 4 because that's on the left. Okay? So what happens if you are asked to compare absolute values and numbers at the same time? Well, here we're being asked to compare an absolute value to an actual number. So what do we do if we come across that? Here's what we do. We find the absolute value of the number that we're given first, and then we compare just the numbers. So what's the absolute value of -3, or the opposite of 3? It's 3, because it's 3 units away from 0. Now we're given the number 3, and now we have the opposite of 4. I'm now comparing the numbers, so I'm going to look at which number is on the left on the number line and which number is on the right. So I can see that the opposite of 4 is to the left of 3 on the number line, so the symbol is going to be, the relation symbol or the comparison symbol is going to be open to 3 because that number is on the right, and close to the opposite of 4 because that number is on the left. Remember, Oracle, open right, closed left, okay? And with that, I hope that you have understood this idea of comparing absolute values with actual points on the number line. And it's really important to read carefully what you're given so that you know what you're actually comparing. Am I trying to figure out which numbers are further away from 0, or am I trying to find out the position of numbers on the number line? That's a very important question to ask, and by reading the values around the comparison symbols, you'll be able to answer that question very easily. So with that, I hope you understood this video, and if not, you could go back and rewind. Otherwise, you feel free to ask me some questions in class, and I wish you all the best in our continued study of positive and negative numbers on the number line.